that whenever a parachute falls, I mean, when a parachute is not falling, it's like a crumpled piece of paper or cloth. But when it starts falling and floating in air, it acquires a hemispherical shape. This round shape, the characteristic round shape. So my question is, what gives it this round shape? Why does it have this round shape? Why does it acquire this round shape? So please think about it and give me an answer. On the chat, please. Why does a parachute have a hemispherical shape, a rounded shape? What is giving it that round shape? No answer? Somebody saying morning. I'm asking an answer to my question. The question is, why does a parachute have a rounded shape? So Umesh Dhakal is saying minimum surface area. So why should it acquire a minimum surface area? Is there any reason for acquiring? I mean, who's telling it to acquire the minimum surface area? Science tutor, whoever the person is, saying it's because of air pressure. So science tutor, you'll have to explain this idea. And Puran Sharma is saying because the air pushes it equally in all directions. So, see, Puran Sharma has given kind of a complete answer. He's saying that air is pushing it equally on all sides, equally in all directions, which is a very nice answer. Science tutor did not explain his answer fully. And what Umesh Dhakal said, that minimum surface area. So my question would immediately be, why it should acquire a minimum surface area? I mean, there has to be, of course, a reason for something. No? So what is the reason? Kalyani Pradhan is saying it overcomes friction. So do you think that overcoming friction gives it that rounded shape? I mean, how does friction become less because of the rounded shape? And can it change its shape because it has to overcome friction? Anything falling through air, I mean, think of you dropping a piece of stone, or let me think, a cube. It has to overcome friction in any case. Does it change its shape? Or suppose it is a flexible thing, I suppose a sponge or a flexible bottle or something. Will it, because it has to overcome air pressure, will it acquire a minimum surface area if it has to overcome friction? So, I mean, you are saying that things, because they have to overcome friction, they will change their shape. Remember, to change its shape, it requires some forces. How will something change its shape without some force, something forcing it to change that shape? Now, Oppo is saying to get more air pressure, which helps to fly. So, do you think the parachute is a living thing that it needs to fly, so it changes its shape like a bird does, like a bird make a curve its wings or flap its wings? So a parachute is not a living thing which can decide that it wants to fly, so it changes its shape, right? The change of shape is happening because something is forcing it to change its shape. And out of all these answers, the answers which people have said, like Narayan has said atmospheric pressure, somebody else, science tutor, said because of air pressure, but they did not explain how air pressure will make it into a curved shape. But Puran Sharma has explained it. He's saying that air is pushing it equally in all directions. So this is an interesting property of air that we are seeing here. that air is pushing it in equally in all directions, right? So Sakun Rai is telling me personally that air will be equally distributed such that there occurs lift of the parachute. Let's forget about the lift of the parachute. Right now I'm asking about the shape of the parachute and you have to explain that. So Ritu Barna is saying, Ritu Barna Chetri, air pressure from the lower part. Yeah, air pressure could have been upwards and then the parachute could have been flat, right? Only upwards. If it was only upwards, the parachute would be flat. But interesting thing is air pressure pushes in all directions equally. Above, like that, and we see a curved parachute. So from here, we'll go to our next observation. So I'm showing you three balloons where three states of matter have been filled up. One is a water-filled balloon, one is an air-filled balloon, and one is a solid-filled balloon. So my colleague Parul is giving me all the three. So I'll just show that to you. This is the black one is an air-filled balloon, and we can see its shape. This is a water-filled balloon. You can notice its shape, and here is a balloon in which she has put in a syringe, right? I mean, if a slightly bigger object would have been there, we'll be able to see the syringe shape more clearly. But you can see that this is certainly not round. These two are spherical, but not this one. So can you explain this difference? This difference in shape? Why does the liquid and gas-filled balloon take spherical shape, but not a solid-filled balloon? In fact, I will request Parul to put in something bigger if she can. So we have to explain how liquid and gas-filled balloon take this characteristic shape, the round shape, which we don't see if we put in a solid. So notice this carefully. And of course, you have to think about it, the reason from this, for this observation. So what's the reason? Neelu has said, because of interparticular space, Neelu, we can't see interparticular space. And in fact, 100, 150 years back, we did not even know that there is interparticular space in gases, a lot of it in gases, much less in liquids. So it's certainly not something to do with interparticular space, if you ask me. I mean, in liquids, it's very much less. So Neelu has now said fluidity and gas is in gas and liquids, which means like gas and liquids maybe can flow. So what does that have to do with space, shape? I mean, the fact that something flows, I mean, if I fill in, I mean, I don't have a transparent glass of water, but I mean, if you put water inside this, it takes the shape of the glass. So, यहाँ पे कांच का glass है क्या? So I'll take a transparent glass so that you can see. So if I put water in this glass, it doesn't take a spherical shape. It takes the shape of a cylinder, the glass cylinder. So fluidity also maybe is doing this. So, but in a balloon, the result is very interesting. Round. So why round? So Hemlata is saying liquid and air particles move randomly. So randomly also has resulted in this, right? Or if this glass was like a different shape, for example, this bottle has a peculiar shape. So the water has taken that shape. This peculiar bottle gives that shape to the water. So why is a balloon round? So Neelu Tamang is saying it acquires the shape of the object. If you say that it acquires the shape of the object, then why is the shape round here? is a balloon round? You think a balloon is round? Suresh Sharma is saying water has more density. Yes, but here the density is not mattering. In both cases, if we fill in equal volume of air and equal volume of water, both become equally shaped rounds, global shape. I mean, like the shape of a sphere. So Narayan Rajmi is saying molecules are loosely packed in case of gas and liquid. Actually, no, not in liquid. In liquid, they are not very loosely packed. Actually, the space acquired by a liquid is only very slightly more than a solid, very slightly. I mean, you can see the difference in volume of ice and water itself. But in any other liquid and solid, if you see the intermolecular space is very little, difference is very little. So, and then secondly, friends, intermolecular space is something, a theory we have heard about, which came only about 100 years back. So Chunkila has said air exerts pressure in all directions. So air, this is air-filled balloon. So maybe I believe you and say that air is pushing equally in all directions. So therefore a spherical shape. But then how about water? Tarannum Ibrahimi is saying surface tension. So Tarannum, you'll have to tell me who has the surface tension and how that surface tension is forcing this balloon to be round. See, friends, here's a request. Please do not use concepts in science just because you have read them, you know about them. How does that concept apply here? You have a real situation in front of you. You have to apply. So just don't take the name of the concept. It doesn't help at all. You have to explain the phenomenon in front. So Manoj Kumar is saying exert pressure on wall of container. So yeah, they do exert. Who exerts pressure on wall of container? Neelu Tamang is saying balloons are flexible and can be round shapes. Parul, give me the solid filled balloon. We have deliberately taken a solid filled balloon. So balloon is flexible, I agree. But here the balloon is taking the shape of the solid. Here balloon is flexible. Balloon could have taken the shape of the internal matter. But in both these cases, it took round shape. So can we conclude that gas and liquid are round? So Divya Chetri has said liquids and gases exert pressure. Karma is saying volume. What about volume? Just saying one name doesn't help. Uma Sharma is saying because gases and liquids being fluid exert pressure on their walls. So pressure where is the pressure being exerted? So Mayuri saying a water balloon is designed to be filled up to the approximate size of baseball in a pear shape. Why? There can be small balloons and big balloons. There can be very, very large balloons as large as this room or whatever. I mean, depends on the amount of material in the balloon. Penjo has said because of kinetic energy and surface tension, I will request once again, please do not use science concepts loosely. I mean, please don't do guesswork. Oh, it could be surface tension, it could be kinetic energy, it could be this, it could be that. See, this is what children do. Most often in our classrooms, when teacher asks a question, children start doing guesswork. So because we are bitten by the correct answer approach. Throughout schooling, what we teach is that there's a correct answer to every question. And as long as you memorize that answer, your job is done. You don't have to apply your head. You don't have to apply reasoning. So nobody applies reasoning. Everyone gives correct answers. So what happens? The teacher asks a question in the class. Children are just trying to see what is the answer teacher is looking for, and they keep doing guesswork. They say one thing, then another thing, then another thing, and then look at the teacher's face, then say another thing. So they are जिसको तुक्का बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, तुक्का, guesswork. That's what they do. Only guesswork. They are not applying reasoning. Friends, I am requesting you to apply your reasoning to tell me why the balloon acquires a round shape in liquids and gases. So Chunkila has said water has some density, so it exerts pressure downwards more. But if it was exerting downwards pressure more, we won't see this round shape, right? So Uma Sharma says gases and liquids. So voice not available. You'll have to check your connection. Assis and Manisha, please give a suggestion to Sandeep. Rakesh is saying pressure changes as height in case of liquid. But here height is not changing. Height is, I mean, like nearly at the same height. All the water and all the air is nearly at the same height. Nearly. The difference would be very little. Saran Chhetri has said it is taking the shape of the balloon. But does the balloon have a shape? It is just flexible material. So it will take the shape of the material inside. So here it's taken the shape of the solid we have put inside. Here it is, and in these two cases, in water and air, it has taken round shape. So my question is, either this should mean that air and water are round, or it should have another explanation. I am asking you the other explanation. So Geeta has said to reduce the pressure of the air. How? Chunkila has said even water exerts pressure in all directions. Correct, but lower portion has more density. That's why it got spherical shape. Chunkila, partly you are thinking in the right direction, but there is some error in your argument. Right now, I'll not point it out. L. Kazi is saying that the balloon is made round, so the inner substance is taking the shape of the balloon, but this is not happening here. The balloon is not round, it's just flexible material. It's flexible material, so it will take the shape of whatever is inside. And these two are making it round. So I'm constantly asking, can we conclude that water is round and air is round? So anyway, friends, I mean, this is the curious thing. I mean, see, I wanted you to notice, some of you have noticed this, which I will now show on my screen. Balloon shape, if you fill a balloon with air or with water, fluids have that special property that at a point in a fluid, I mean, this is not exactly a point, it is a small volume. Within a small volume, the fluid exerts, like pushes equally in all directions. This is the property of a fluid only. So many of you talked about, some of you talked about moving molecules randomly, which is actually correct. This explanation of this comes from moving molecules. If molecules move randomly in all directions, then they will push equally in all directions. It is true, but right now, first we have to see that this balloon is being pushed equally in all directions by whatever is inside. In these two cases, in the cases of fluids, this is the special observation. Geeta Sapkota is saying increase in volume makes it easier to flow in air. She's probably talking about, yeah, one can talk about a balloon as well as parachute. Yeah, increase in volume is because, yes, we have put in more matter. And yes, it is. So if it has greater volume, it will like experience greater buoyant force or thrust, and so therefore it will float. So there the whole thing of buoyancy comes. But right now I was talking about shape. So shape and buoyant force are two different things. So I mean, you will have to be careful about the question asked and try to reason about the answer. Okay, so let's proceed, friends. So let's, many of you must have done this experiment, but some people have not done it. So we will do it. So which we will take a bucket, keep water in it, and invert a glass or a mug, in which we will put a hanky or paper. So Manisha will be showing this. Manisha, are you ready? So then I can, so Manisha, I'll put Manisha on spotlight. So Manisha has this tub, I mean a jar, and she has a glass in which she has stuffed paper. Now friends, first you have to tell me, if Manisha pushes this glass inverted into the water, will the paper get wet or not wet? Will it get wet? What do you think? When she puts it inside, so people are saying it will not get wet. This is a beautiful experiment to do oneself and to show to children in class. So Manisha will do it. Okay. So Manisha dips it in water and see, she's taking it so far below. And now she will bring it upwards. And let's see, has the water, the paper become wet? Show. The paper is clean, I mean dry. No water entered. Why do you think the water did not enter here? The paper is completely dry. So why did the water not enter inside the glass? She went deep inside. So Rakesh is saying air pressure in the glass. Okay, right. Any other answer? Air insulation. See, insulation, when we say insulation, insulation is normally used for flow of heat or electricity. So right now there is no role of heat or electricity. Mingso is saying air pressure in glass. Yeah, glass will have air pressure due to upward pressure of what, Uma? What is applying upward pressure? Neelu is saying force of attraction between water particles. How's that playing a role here? So for water not entering. So Puran Sharma has said because water could not replace air. Yeah, that's true. That's what we saw. That was our observation. Water could not replace air. And my question is why? So many people are saying due to air pressure in the glass. That's also correct actually. But basically here we see that air is actually, firstly, air occupies a space very solidly. It applies pressure also and will not let other things enter normally. I mean, other matter, it does not allow other matter to enter. Manisha, can you show the glass a little tilted now? Just tilt the glass a little. No, dip and then tilt. First dip straight. She's taking it vertically down straight and now tilt a little bit. We see large bubbles coming up. Tilt more. And water starts entering. Tilt now fully. Not only water enters, now the paper gets wet. Manisha, show. The paper gets wet. You can see it's even visible. The paper gets wet. Yeah, so science tutor has said now air is escaping from glass. So this is interesting. See, till air could escape, air did not allow water to enter. The moment it got a chance to escape, it entered the glass and made the paper wet. Thank you, Manisha. So friends, if air occupies space, solidly occupies space, and also does not let other things enter, then how is it that air is allowing me to sit in this room? When I entered this room, air did not stop me. This room was full of air. How did it allow me to enter? I mean, I came in and closed the door, so I did not even allow the air to escape. So how do you enter a room if air does not allow things to take its place? Any answer? When I enter this room, the room allows me to enter, the air allows me to enter. But it was not, we saw that it was not allowing the water to enter. So Pema is saying because of blood pressure, see, blood pressure is inside me, but the air inside this room allowed me to enter. In the glass, the air was not allowing the water to enter till it got a channel to go out, I mean, a space to go out. So Neelu Tamang is saying large space and weak force of attraction because of mass, which is more than outside air. The air inside the body exerts equal pressure. Air particles are loosely packed. Air particles are, of course, loosely packed. But then why could water not enter in those loosely packed particles? I can enter, but water cannot enter. How is that possible? So Rajni Das is saying space for air particles to move. Rajni Das, can you explain this? Should I unmute you? I'm unmuting Rajni Das. Yeah, so can you explain what you are saying?
Maybe the space in the room is large enough for the air particles to move away so that you can go and displace it.
Yeah, so so you are right. So what she's saying is that inside, because a lot many air particles are there, and air particles can find other spaces where they can go and they can move around. So there is space for a large body like me to come in. And of course, some particles here will get compressed, some particles will come closer together because I have filled in that space. But if the air particles don't have enough space to move around or move about or go out somewhere, air becomes very rigid. It becomes as rigid as a solid. It doesn't let anything enter. I mean, there are more very interesting experiments on this. And also air pressure also plays a good part here. I mean, air pressure is also sort of air pushing things all around. So that also plays a good role. We are soon coming to air pressure. So slowly, I mean, today our whole exploration is on air pressure and properties of air, qualities of air. So let's move ahead, friends. We'll have many experiments today. So now there is this thing. I mean, since you all have done it so often, I'm not making you do it. But think of somebody sucking air. Suppose, sucking water. Here's water in my glass. Okay, let me take this glass. There's water in this glass, and I dip a straw. So right now, the upper part of the straw has air. I start sucking. I suck air. I suck air. And the water climbs up and comes inside my mouth. So this is very strange. I sucked air, but water climbed up. Why did water climb up? Rakesh has given a complicated answer. Rakesh, I'm like, I just want to point out that many physics concepts are actually mixed up in your answer. I would request that please spend some time thinking of each topic, each concept cleanly so that you don't mix them. I mean, friction on the floor, resultant pressure, air occupying space, and balance of forces, everything like has been mixed up in this answer. Okay, so many of you have said suction created. Yes. So suction means what? Suction pressure occurs in straw. What does that mean? What happens inside the straw? I mean, suction pressure is a word you have created. Physics doesn't have a word like suction pressure. But what has happened inside the straw? Okay, Rajni Das is saying vacuum. It will be not full vacuum, but partial vacuum. Since I suck out some air from here, so there is partial vacuum created inside here. So, so now Chunkila has said because space is created when air is being removed, so water moved in. So are you saying that whenever space is created, water will move in or matter will move in? And Roji is saying air pulls the water. Does the air have this capacity to pull water towards itself? We kind of can see that there is low pressure or partial vacuum created here. Since I suck out some air from my mouth, there is partial pressure inside this straw here, this portion, low pressure. Let's call it low pressure or partial vacuum. So the mouth is applying force, science tutor, the mouth is applying force to pull air and water comes by itself. There is a distance between my mouth and the water. So I pull air and water comes up. Now Umesh Dhakal is saying capillary action. Firstly, capillary action happens without me pulling at all. It happens by itself, happens in very narrow tubes. So if there's very little capillary action here actually. If it was happening, it would have happened by itself. So water would rise purely because of capillary action without my presence, without any action from myself. But because of capillary action, it did not rise till here. It requires a very thin capillary, very thin tube for capillary action to actually make the water really rise. So Uma Sharma is saying due to decrease in air pressure, yeah, so suppose air pressure has decreased here. So air pressure has decreased. So why should water rise? Does low pressure pull water, pull other things? I agree that there's low pressure created here, but because of that, will the water get pulled? Any other answer? Small area, more pressure. Where is area small and where is more pressure? Where? Okay, let me show a diagram. Firstly, my question is that for Uma or those people who are saying that there is a decrease in air pressure, so air is pulling. So what you are saying is that low pressure is pulling in water. So this is a pull. Okay, Puran Sharma is also saying due to decrease in air pressure, the air will try to fill in, causing the water to push up through the straw. Small area, more pressure. Okay, so fluid always moves higher pressure to lower pressure. Okay, so where is the high pressure here? What is the location? See, here we decided that this straw upward has low pressure. Where does it have high pressure? At bottom of glass. Why does bottom of glass have high pressure? There's more liquid above. Rakesh is saying that there's more liquid above. So he's saying that there is greater pressure here because there is greater liquid here. Okay, so let me, we will see that about this explanation. Say, I will show you my next slide. So here's our straw. Here I was pulling, right? I was pulling air. And and water rose from here. So, so, so the question now is the water inside the straw, this water inside the straw, or water from this bowl or the glass, is this water experiencing a push by someone, or is this water experiencing a pull? Is it a pull according to you, or is it a push, or it is both? Neelu is saying because of lesser pressure inside the mouth. Okay, yeah. So science tutor is saying it's a pull. How many people say it's a pull? Okay, so most people, okay, Neelu is saying it's both. So you have to say who's applying the pull. See, pull is applied by somebody, some agency, some agent. So karma is saying pull and push both. So you have to tell me who's applying the pull, who's applying the push. Who's applying the pull? The pull people, all those who are saying pull, have to tell me who's applying the pull. Okay, Rakesh is saying push is by the weight of the liquid. So, okay, let's keep this for now, that push is by the weight of the liquid. But what about pull? Who's applying the pull? So water is pushing, okay. So water here, they are saying water here is pushing, but how about pull? Who's pulling? Mouth is pulling. So mouth is pulling this air. Who's pulling the water? See, mouth only pulled the air. Please notice the mouth was not in touch with water at all. The mouth was in touch with air, and mouth pulled the air. And something then pulled something applied the force on water. So I am saying who pulled the water? Rajini Das is saying air particles pull. So when we enter the tube inside pull. So you are saying the walls of the tube pull. Many people are saying air is pulling. Air pulled the water. Air creates the suction. Okay. So let's keep this explanation for now. Neelu Tamang is saying because of difference in pressure, there is a low pressure here and there is a high pressure here. So because of difference in pressure, this is happening. YP Mishra is saying push is by the weight of water and also by atmospheric air pressure, pulling pressure from the mouth. Okay, so YP Mishra is saying probably that both are there. He's saying pull by the pressure of the mouth and push by water and atmospheric pressure. He has added another factor, atmospheric pressure. So there are two reasons why there is push, and there's one reason why there is pull. So friends, now we have all the opinions. Some people are in favor of the pull, some people are in favor of the push, and some people are in the favor of push and pull. So if I take votes, we'll have like 3 kinds of voting in the class. So let's see. I mean, after all, out of these 3, only one answer can be correct. All the 3 can't be correct, right? So let's see what turns out to be correct. So let's wait. So I will just write that down, that it's either pull by air, push by water, pull plus push by air, water, and atmospheric pressure. Okay, I don't know, somehow it did not type what I was trying to write. Then anyway, I have said this. So let's see. So we have these opinions. We will see eventually that some opinion has to be correct out of the three options we have. Manisha, can you write the 3 on the whiteboard and show? write the three opinions. So pull by low pressure of air. Will you take time writing? Can you type fast? I mean, you don't have your stylus with you? Then I'll type it. Leave. Manisha, I'll type then. Just leave this. I will type on the other whiteboard. I will just type on the whiteboard. So we have one opinion that pull by low pressure of air. This is one opinion. Then another opinion is push by high pressure of water and or atmosphere. And the third reason people are saying is pull plus push by all these. So we have these three explanations, and let's see what turns out to be correct, right? So push due to upward pressure of air. So Uma Sharma, where is the upward pressure of air? I mean, I'll show you my screen. Where is the upward pressure? Which point? I mean, on top of the straw? Bottom of the straw? Where? Bottom here. So she's saying that because of the upward pressure, so the air pressure is here, water is there, not air. So bottom there is water, but where are you saying air pressure exists? Air pressure here at the bottom, but there is no air here. This is water. Bottom of the vessel, it has water only. So anyway, let's see. Now let's come to a syringe. So when you put a syringe, so I will try showing. I mean, all of us have seen this, so there is nothing very like, it's a very familiar experience all of us have, that when you, I have water in this glass and I put a syringe inside and I pull the piston and the water climbs up, right? So why does the water come up in the syringe? Once again, why is the water climbing up? Whether it's a pull by something or whether it's a push by something. I'll show you a picture also of the same. Okay, here, like there is another phenomena shown with the syringe. So currently you have to tell me when I put the mouth of the syringe in water and pull, water climbs up. So why is it coming up? I mean, something must be pulling it, something must be pushing it, or maybe both must be happening. So is it, what is happening? I mean, when I want to put this water back, I have to push. So I push and the water goes back. But why did the water climb in the first place? Put inside water, pull the piston. I am pulling the piston. I am not pulling water. I am pulling the piston, but the water climbs up. There is a difference between I'm not even touching the water. So anyone wants to explain this? So Sushant Sharma is saying air pressure on the surface of water. Sushant Sharma, I'm asking you to unmute. Please explain this by speaking. Whatever
air pressure is on the surface of the water. Because of that, water gets into the syringe.
Okay, yeah, so okay, so she's saying that air pressure is on the surface of the water, therefore water gets into the syringe. So she's saying air is pushing on the surface of the water. But see, right now it's not climbing. I'm keeping the syringe, but air pressure is not making it rise. It rises only when I pull here, I pull the piston here. So something must be done by the piston, right? What is the piston doing? So Sushant, what did the piston do?
Piston is creating the vacuum.
Okay. And then?
Because of the vacuum, air pressure pushes the water inside the syringe.
Okay, so she's saying that the piston is creating a vacuum. We can see that if I close the syringe, and I pull. So it's very easy to see that there is very little air right now. So if I pull, it's very hard to pull. It gets very hard to pull, but if I pull, an air, a partial vacuum is created inside. That this little tiny part, tiny air inside this thing, its mouth. This tiny air gets expanded in this big region, and therefore there would be partial vacuum here. So if you actually do this, I mean, if I properly close the mouth of the syringe and try pulling, firstly, it's very hard. It's very, very hard. It's very hard. I pull, and then the moment I leave, it goes back with a bang. So I do it in any direction. Upward, downward, it doesn't matter. It's very hard to pull. It's very, very hard to pull, but I pull, and I mean, if I keep it closed properly, you will be this. You should see, do yourself in your home. Look, I have to really apply a huge amount of force. This partial vacuum is created, but the moment I leave, bang, it goes back. So even this we'll need to explain. Why doesn't, whenever there is a partial vacuum created, bang, the piston goes back. Why? Who's pushing the piston? So Vandana is also saying atmospheric pressure in the liquid and pushes into the straw. So basically, many people are talking about the atmospheric pressure in air. Subrata Pal, Udita Pradhan has said, when the piston is pulled up, vacuum is created inside the tube. Water is pushed inside due to atmospheric pressure on surface of water in beaker. So you see, what Udita Pradhan is saying is this. So, okay, I've shown two things with the syringe. One is pulling water in the syringe. Second is closing the mouth of the syringe and trying to pull the piston, and asking in both cases what's happening. So, I mean, I'm here, the diagram is showing the case where we close the piston. So, the thing is, what Udita is saying is that the atmospheric pressure outside, the outer air, pushes the piston in. The inside space is a partial vacuum. You can call it a low pressure area or vacuum area, partial vacuum area. So one possibility is that this partial vacuum pulls it inside. The other possibility is that this outward atmospheric pressure pushes it inside. So either it's a pull or it's a push. What are you in favor of? You have to take sides now, each of you. Is it a pull or is it a push? How many people in the favor of a pull? How many in the favor of a push? Udita is saying push. Saran is saying push. Lomas is saying pull. Sushan says push. Science tutor is saying push. YP Mishra is saying pull due to vacuum. Is there anybody who wants to say pull and push both? Ranjita is saying push. Push. So we can see very clearly a lot of people are in the favor of push, a lot of people are in favor of pull, and now another opinion is both. So friends, it's actually, if you ask me, it's hardly surprising that right now your group is divided in its opinions. This happened historically. Historically, this confusion, whether it's a pull or a push, remained till it was resolved at one point in time in science, very clearly. And we will come to it. We will first see a lot of cases, lot of experiments, where you can explain the experiment by saying, okay, there is a pull which vacuum is exerting. Vacuum or low pressure is pulling towards its side. So that can be one opinion. On the other hand, there is another view which says there must be something pushing. There is a vacuum created and something must be pushing against that vacuum. So there is a push which some people feel, and then there is like both. So there is a pull by the vacuum and there's a push by the pressure. So pull and push both. So I mean, I'm representing, like the diagram is showing both. So there is divided opinion, and we will settle this question by the end of the session. Before the end of the session, actually. We'll settle it for good. Now we will work with a bottle. This is a very interesting experiment. So Manisha, will you be showing it? So Manisha is ready with her stuff. So I am spotlighting her. So here we take a bottle, a plastic bottle, and actually we have to first heat the air inside somehow. I mean, we can't directly heat because it's plastic, so we put hot water inside. So she will pour hot water inside so that the air inside heats up. And then we will throw away the hot water and then close the bottle. So she has hot water with her and she pours some hot water. You can see how hot the water is. And I'll request Manisha, but Manisha, enough, otherwise your bottle will melt. See, she closes it. She will shake it a little. Shake so that the air inside gets hot. Now she'll open the lid, throw away the water, and now close the lid again. And look, the effect is already visible. You'll have to rotate the bottle. See, the bottle starts collapsing, like totally pichak jati. It starts, its walls start collapsing inward as if something is pulling inside or as if something is pushing from outside, or both is happening. We can clearly see the flattened bottle. It's a very, very dramatic experiment, and you must do it for your students in your class. First, do it at home. Thank you, Manisha. That was done beautifully. So friends, I will also show you the same experiment in two more dramatic situations. So here is a YouTube video. And let's hope I can share sound. So this is in a college. So these people are heating water in a, just a sec, let me see if I can share sound. Zoom gives a little trouble in sharing sound. Okay, so sound is shared.
That's fine. Squeeze.
Water heated, and now they are removing this hot steam. I mean, the drum filled with hot steam. They put it in water.
No. Throw some water on it. Oh, no, just grab the ice with your hands.
So they are now trying to cool it. There's hot steam inside. Oh, there's also ice in the bucket.
That is so good.
So putting ice on top. And even throwing cold water. So wasn't that fun? I mean, such a strong, strong tin collapsing. And I'll show you the other one now. Huge steel tank, which is a vacuum. I'll show it again. A huge steel tank evacuated. Vacuum is created inside, air sucked out. And there it goes. So you can see how dramatic it can be. I mean, like a huge, big, thick steel tank can also just collapse, you know. I mean, like there must be a huge force either inside or outside, something either pulling the walls inside or something pushing from outside for it to collapse. So YP Mishra is saying both in this plastic bottle experiment, pushing by atmospheric pressure and pulling by vacuum creation. So YP Mishra is in a favor of pull and push both. Lomas has said the pressure inside has decreased due to lowering of temperature. Yes, inside when you boil water or heat the air, so the air expands and escapes out. Air or steam, whatever, escapes, some of it escapes out. So inside a low pressure is built. So and then when you close it, there is either high pressure outside is making it collapse, or there is inside low pressure pulling it inside. So it can be pull or push or both. So once again, I'll have to share my screen. Wait, I'll have to close. Just a second. So I showed both of these, And the explanation of this bottle collapsing can be once again that either there is high temperature created inside the water, the air inside or steam inside expands because of high temperature and escapes out of, so one has to give it an escape route. So Manisha also opened the lid. So you have to create an escape route, so some of the hot air or steam escapes out, then you put the lid back. So inside there is lesser air, so there is a partial vacuum. Now there is a partial vacuum inside, so either the partial vacuum pulls it inside or there is a atmospheric pressure outside which pushes it inside. So it can be pull or push or both. Take your sides again. Science tutor, inside pressure will increase initially as you heat, there will be pressure increase, but the moment you open the lid, that high pressure air will escape out. It expands and escapes. Therefore, the pressure drops. See, pressure will not drop without opening the lid. Unless you open the lid, there will be high pressure building up. But if you open the lid, the air or steam escapes. And when you close the lid again, there is less air left inside. And as you saw in that big steel drum, they sucked out air with the help of a vacuum pump. So YP Mishra says pull was more than push, so bottle collapses or shrinks. So any other views? Pull or push or both? So take your sides, friends. So low pressure creates suction, so it's a pull. So you are saying you are in the Uma Sharma, you are in the favor of a pull. Neelu Tamang is in favor of both. YP Mishra is more in favor of pull. Any other views? Gautam Laik is saying push. Science tutor is saying push. Friends, you will be amazed. I have held this workshop, this session, and scores of times. I don't remember how many times. Every time there have been divided opinion in the classroom, the way you people are having. So you can see that the session itself has this internal contradiction. Pull, push, or both. So you can take any side without fear of being wrong. Like I said, humanity also had this confusion. Scientists themselves had this. So people who are saying both are being a little diplomatic, but it's all right. Diplomacy is also good. So push. Chukila is saying push. Okay, don't worry. We'll go on. We'll go on exploring. See, this session really is exploring constantly and asking you to explain. See, that's the method of science. I mean, you observe and experiment, try explaining it, try making your theory. You can have one theory, you can have another theory, one explanation, another explanation, another explanation, and eventually some explanation withstands all scrutiny. I mean, it is able to explain everything without getting challenged. So nothing challenges that theory, and therefore we accept it. That's how science functions, right? So that's what we are following. We are following the method of science. Friends, it's 12:09. Should we take a 10 minutes break? So let's take a 10 minutes break and we will come back at 12:20. So I will just announce that. So friends, we are back. So Abhi, like everyone in the participants are not back. So let's wait a little. So, okay, people are slowly joining. So let's start again. So we were at this point where we were deciding whether a bottle or a container or a drum, whether it has pull or a push. Now we will come to a very, very interesting experiment, which is like one of the most startling experiment you can do, which is a newspaper and a table. You need a newspaper, a ruler, and a table. So we would have asked you to bring all this, but then maybe it will take some time for you to arrange things. So that's why we did not ask, but you can do all this later. The experiments, most experiments are very, very easy, very simple, but very fascinating. This is the best one. So here's, I'm like spotlighting Manisha's, Manisha's phone here. So I hope you can see, and you'll have to pin Manisha phone. I have spotlighted, but if you are on a mobile phone, you'll have to pin this. So what she has done is spread a newspaper on a table, and generally, like with your hands, you have to remove the creases in the newspaper. I mean, you have to flatten it properly, and after that, we keep a scale on the first, Manisha, on the newspaper. First, we keep it on the newspaper, hanging out half. Half of it is hanging out, and yeah. So, and now she will hit it with her finger. So when she hits it, you can see with a little force, just a little force, it falls back, falls down. So it requires very little force because it's very light, it's very lightweight. Now she will put it below the newspaper. And now she will hit it, hit with her. You see, she uses her full hand. She uses her full hand, or even if she uses a finger, it's very hard to make the ruler fall down unless, you know, the newspaper really lifts up. But what is the reason? I mean, like something as light as a ruler and something as light as a newspaper should fall down easily. But what happens when she puts a newspaper on top? So Manisha, do it again. See, it doesn't fall even when she applies enough force with her hand. So, sorry, friends. Yeah. So Manisha, just do once more. In fact, your hand will start aching and the scale will not fall down easily. You see, at times it even tears the paper. So much force is required to make this scale fall down. So thank you, Manisha. So now the question is, what happened this time? I mean, the newspaper, what did the newspaper do? The scale, which was falling easily with just a little finger tap, and then using her full hand, lot of force. At times you are unable to do it, like even after applying a lot of force. So what could be the reason? Why doesn't the scale fall now? What do you think? What is preventing the the scale from falling down? This experiment you must do. You must do yourself. It's like, it's an amazing experiment. So explanations, friends. Anyone would like to speak and say? So Udita is saying it's the paper holding the scale back from falling. But paper barely has any weight. But if you want, I mean, we can fold the paper and keep it on top of the scale. And if you fold it, you'll see it has barely any effect. So science tutor is saying the surface of paper is added with the scale, making it difficult to fall. What can the surface do? And surface by itself, I mean, spread out surface, why should it, I mean, see, the mass or the weight of the paper will push on the scale, but the weight of paper is so little, and the weight will not change whether you spread out or you crush it into a ball or fold it. So Rakesh Karki Dholi is saying more area means less pressure. Which means, like, you are saying that when this paper is spread out, it's pressing on the scale less. If it is pressing on the scale less, then the scale should fall more easily. So Rakesh is saying P equal to F by A. Rakesh, you'll have to explain what you are saying. What is the more surface area doing? So Mingso is saying space between table and newspaper are filled with air and create pressure in between them. But Mingso, we removed the air. We tried flattening the newspaper to reduce that air. We actually let very little air remain in between. So PM Paul has said atmospheric pressure over paper prevents falling. So he is saying that atmospheric pressure is pushing. So therefore it's holding it down. Any other explanation? And for Rakesh, Rakesh, do you want to, I mean, I can unmute you and you can explain what you are saying. Rakesh, would you like to explain what you are saying? Contact of paper increases the contact force. See, contact of paper with the scale is only as much as the scale's own thickness. Scale is barely 2 inches wide, and that is the only contact. The rest of the paper is spreading further on the table. It's hardly touching. It's not touching the scale at all. So contact force cannot go more than the scale's own surface area. So contact area has not increased. So something else must be happening. It's so good that you are thinking. That's what a science class should do. Making people think, making children think is the best achievement of a class. If you are able, even if people are confused, at least they are thinking. Memorized correct answers is the worst thing you can do to science. You are engaging in employing your reasoning. What better can I ask for? Any other answer? So certain Meduk is saying atmospheric pressure is more on the paper. So he is saying that atmospheric pressure is acting on this large surface area. Neelu is saying, will I give answer to a question I was asking in previous session before tea break? What was the question before tea break? I won't remember. So you will have to ask the question here. But right now, I don't want to divert attention from this session, what we are doing here. But any questions can be asked later. I mean, we can pass on 1 or 2 phone numbers to you on which you can ask on WhatsApp. Or we can make some way you can ask questions if you want. Since nobody is answering, anybody wants to answer more? Why the newspaper does not allow the paper to fall? Okay, so I mean, see, the newspaper is spread on the scale. So one possibility is that there is a push from above. Something is pushing from above. This whole newspaper is being pushed from above, and like some people are saying, it could be atmospheric pressure pushing from above. So it can be a push. But it could also be a pull. If suppose we have removed all air between the paper and the scale, so inside there is low pressure or partial vacuum which is pulling the paper down. So it could be a pull or push again. Pull by partial vacuum or push by atmospheric pressure or both. Right? So this our pull and push theory is not leaving us. Now we will do something else which Parul will show. So I will Parul will she will take water in a container, and the window we are going to use is tab. So I'm going to spotlight tab. So what we are doing is we have taken a transparent jar in which we will fill in some water, and actually we are deliberately taking colored water. Colored water is not necessary, but we are taking colored so that you can see clearly on the screen. So here's colored water, and now Parul will take a transparent glass. She will take a glass and then invert the glass so now she will invert the glass inside the and Parul fill water inside. Pure mein pani bhar lo. Now you see, actually I'll go there. I'll go there. So just a second. So friends, what I am doing is, firstly, see this glass, suppose I fill with water, right? And I tilt it or I invert it, the water falls down because of gravity, right? But suppose the same glass I take inside, allow it to fill with water and invert inside the water, and now I bring it up. You see that the water does not fall. Water does not fall. It falls only when I leave the surface of the water. Let me show it again. See, if it's a simple glass, all the water will pour out. But if the glass is taken inside and filled, then it becomes presence. Then if I bring it above, the water does not fall, 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 does not fall. I can hold it right like that, and now it falls. Now what if I do it with a bigger glass? I mean, okay, for a small glass this was happening, but suppose I do it with a taller glass. So we will do it with a very, very tall object also. So we will keep a bigger bigger tub. So I have this huge thing, and I will fill it with water, dip it inside, fill it with water. I mean, a little difficult filling all of it with water. And now I will invert it over water. I mean, I will try to hold the water with my hand and invert. So you can see, right now the water is not falling. And even if I lift it, it's very heavy. It's like easily, it must be, this is 2 kgs of water. I lift it above and the water does not fall. Like so much water. It's not falling at all. Not falling, not falling. It's holding up. And now it falls. The moment it leaves the surface of water, it falls. Now let me take something even taller. I have a measuring cylinder here, and let me fill it with water. And I hold it so that it's, as long as it's below the water surface, you can see below the water surface, doesn't fall, doesn't fall, doesn't fall, doesn't fall. So much water. Look at the height. So much water. What happened to gravity? It should have been falling out of gravity, but it's not. The gravity is of no consequence. Doesn't fall, doesn't fall, doesn't fall. Now it falls. Now gravity works. It did not work till this was inside. So what happened? Why is the water not falling? So, friends, why did the water not fall when its surface was below the water surface, when the edge was below the water surface? I mean, whatever, I mean, one takes, I took this long, this long, this long, pretty fat one, still it did not fall. If you take a simple ordinary bottle of 1 liter, 2 liter, take a larger one, doesn't fall. Why do you think it doesn't fall? I mean, this is where, so the question is, what is holding up this water in an inverted glass? That's the question. And also, like, even if we take a taller bottle, it does not fall. Okay, my screen was probably not shared. I'll share it again. So what holds the water up against gravity in an inverted glass? So Rakesh Karkidoli is saying buoyant force. Neelu is saying because there is no free space. So what has gravity got to do with free space? Deepak Sharma is saying due to upward air pressure. Where is the upward air pressure? Where is the upward air pressure acting? And like we keep making the glass taller and taller and water still does not fall. So another question is, when will it fall at all? Suppose I make it 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, as much as I don't have such a large bottle, but suppose I had a bottle as tall as this room's height, will the water still not fall? Firstly, what is holding it up? So Rakesh Karkidoli is saying, since atmospheric pressure is equal to buoyant force on what? Where is the buoyant force acting and on what is it acting? So buoyant force acts on an object, right? Object or some matter. So what is it acting on? If you use a word, you'll have to explain. Deepak Sharma is saying upward air pressure. Where is the upward air pressure? Where is it acting? So Ladin Shirpa is saying because the air pressure is greater than water pressure. Air pressure where is greater than water pressure? Where is the air pressure acting and where is it greater? Uma Sharma saying water. You'll have to explain what you mean. I will allow people to unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself and answer the question. Explain. Air dissolved in water. Uma, air dissolved in water is very little. It's actually very, very little air. Not all of air dissolves in water. Some oxygen and a little carbon dioxide. And oxygen also, you know, about 4% oxygen dissolves in water and very little carbon dioxide. So air dissolved in water can't do this miracle. Like I had nearly 2-3 kilo of water in my hand. So science tutor is saying the water pressure in the bowl is neutralizing the water of upside down tube till up to the surface. See, you'll have to explain this very clearly. Normally, friends, physical phenomena are difficult to explain unless you draw a diagram, actually see what is working where. So that also is, it's like physics, or rather science, I should say, requires clean reasoning and clear understanding of concepts. So see, since I'm used to, in this session, I use this pull versus push. So we can have, see, as soon as it is this water we are talking about, the water that is filled inside this glass or container, and this is not falling. So one possibility is that when it tries falling, the moment it tries falling, a vacuum builds up on top. If it will fall, there will be a vacuum, and that vacuum pulls the water back. That vacuum does not allow the water to fall, it pulls the water up. So it could be a pull. This water is experiencing a pull above. So that's one possibility. Or maybe there is no pull here, but there's a push. There's the atmospheric pressure working here, and that atmospheric pressure is working in all this water and is pushing above. So this water is getting pushed above because of this atmospheric pressure. So it could be a push or it could be both. Udita has said, okay, the downward pressure inside the jar is equal to the upward pressure buoyant of the water in bucket, then the jar is inside the bucket. So you see, how did so much buoyant pressure come here? I mean, how did it start acting upwards? So much buoyant force, where did it come from? So upward pressure, where did it come from? So some people are saying it's because of the air pressure outside. Do you agree to this air pressure building up this buoyant force? Something has to go inside to release water. Yes, we saw that, I mean, okay, air went in, but again, I mean, while it's holding up, right now, nothing can go in. Look at this situation, which I have shown on the screen. Nothing is going in, but it is, the water is in place. So all the weight of water acting downwards, let me try annotating. See, you will appreciate that the weight of water will always act downwards. This weight W of this so much of water this is not trivial, it's a big force. This weight is acting downwards. Something has to counter this weight. So either it's a pull upwards or it's a push coming from below. So I'm asking you to choose again, whether it's a pull or a push. So again, Neelu is saying it's at atmospheric pressure as well as vacuum pressure inside glass. Okay, so vacuum pull, when you say vacuum pressure is always push. Pressure is not a pull thing. So pressure word comes from press. Press means push. So pull is not pressure, right? Okay, so Udita is saying push. So Hemlata is saying pull. I'm glad more people have started speaking. Neelu is saying pull. Friends, take sides, take sides. I mean, it's not possible that you as a thinking human being don't have the capacity to reason. Whether you are saying here or not, you are thinking and your mind is giving you some conclusion, some reason, some opinion. Please exercise it. It's like, it's good that you are contributing to the class, you're taking an opinion, you're taking a side, you are giving your reasoning. Like I told you, this reasoning remained throughout history for a very long time in history. So it doesn't matter, you may be on this side or that side. Doesn't matter. Like, I mean, being wrong and right is not so important than thinking or reasoning with your own mind. We've all learned science from textbooks and actually mugged up a lot of what is written in textbooks. That's not science. Science is application of reasoning, logic, observation, and analyzing whatever we see, right? And drawing conclusions. So when you say your opinion, you are doing science. Okay, Neelu is saying she's correcting her first answer. Great. Great. You are thinking constantly and you are saying things differently. Great. Okay, friends. So we have like constantly struggled with this pull, push, because of pump. Penzor, you will have to please explain what you mean by pump. You can unmute yourself or I can unmute you if you want. I didn't understand what you meant by pump. So can you explain? Okay, I'll carry on because Penzor is not saying anything. So friends, we are again with the same confusion. So this confusion remained. Okay, Udita is saying once the jar is above water surface of bucket, the push pressure makes the water flow out. When the jar is above, only gravity makes it flow. See, anything normally, I mean, I showed you a simple jar of water. Water cannot stay because the gravity is pulling it hard. It has so much weight because of gravity pulling. So once it has left the surface of water, it is simply gravity. But till it is inside water, something else is happening. And we are trying to find out what is happening, right? So friends, like there was, like I said, look at this fellow's birth time. I mean, he lived Evangelista Torricelli. He lived between 1608 to 1647. So that time, people used to believe in the pull theory. Like scientists also thought that vacuum pulls. Wherever some vacuum is created, nature doesn't like a vacuum. So the nature pulls in matter there, or the vacuum pulls in matter there to fill it. So nature doesn't allow vacuums to be created. So vacuum pulls. The pull theory was the dominant theory at that time. Then what happened? Torricelli came, and Torricelli observed something else. At that time, like 400 years back, there used to be like for drawing water from wells, or for drawing waters up to the ceilings of roofs of houses, there used to be suction pumps. So suction pumps would work exactly the same way, the way you were sucking. We suck water in a straw, we suck air. So suction pump would suck air and water would climb up. But water did not climb up beyond the height of 10.3 meters or 34 feet. However much of suction you apply, however much you suck air, water stopped at this height, 34 feet. 34 feet is roughly like 3 stories. So above 3 stories, water will not climb. Do whatever, water will not climb. So Torricelli said, Uma Sharma is saying there must be some difference between air and water medium. Uma Sharma, right now, more than the medium, what we are trying to see, who's applying the force? Somebody is applying the force. Who's applying? We know gravity applies force, because of which things fall down. But here, in these cases, what we are seeing is something is acting against gravity. In the upward direction, something is keeping that water up. So somebody is cancelling the gravity, something is applying force above. And what is it? That's what we are trying to find out. So see, initially people thought historically that it was the vacuum forming above, which was not allowed in nature. Nature did not allow vacuum. So when the moment any vacuum formed, nature pulled up water above. So, or vacuum pulled up water above. So that's what people said. But Torricelli saw that this phenomena doesn't happen beyond 34 feet or exactly 10.3 meters. So if in this pipe, if this pipe was longer than 10.3 meters or 34 feet, water will not rise. So Torricelli said, if nature doesn't like vacuums, or vacuums pull up water, then it should happen beyond 34 feet also, right? I mean, we can also try doing it beyond 34 feet. I mean, you'll have to go above a 3-story building and try pulling water. I mean, you suck air and see whether water rises. So this pull theory had a problem, that it did not work beyond 34 feet or 10.3 meters. So there was something else acting. So he thought like this. He said that Torricelli said that we are living in a sea of air. We are surrounded by air, and there's a full sea above us. Like it's like thick by kilometers and kilometers. So many kilometers above us, there is air, and air has weight. This was a time that people did not believe in gases having weight. Even scientists had not thought about gases having weight. So people actually thought that if it's an air-filled balloon, it's weightless. That's why it floats above. So Torricelli said, no, this huge sea of air must be having weight, and that air is pressing down on everything below, including us. Everything below. So this air is pressing down. So he said that maybe what is happening is this thing. This air is pressing down on the water surface, and this air is forcing. So this pressure is acting on water also, and because of this huge air pressure, which we call as atmospheric pressure now, this huge air pressure is pushing this water also. So water also has pressure. So water below will have air pressure as well as its own pressure. This water will also have weight. This water column will also have weight. So there will be weight of this air plus this weight of this water. So much water is pushing below, and this pressure is actually this pressing from down. This is actually holding this water column above. It is the pressure of air which is forcing this water column above. So even if you bring this glass to the edge of water, even if at the edge the water holds up, because this air is forcing it above. It's like acting like this. This air pressure is acting upwards. It's actually holding up water, which we saw also in our experiment. We saw, and this he called as atmospheric pressure. And he said, let me try doing it with mercury. So this is how, Mercury barometer built. So first I will show Mercury barometer. This is Torricelli's demonstration. What he did was, he took a bowl of mercury and took a closed. Okay, there's some noise coming, so I'll have to mute everyone because there is some disturbance. There's still some noise coming. I don't know how it's coming. Manisha, can you hear the voice also?
No, ma'am.
It must be my YouTube video running probably. Right. It's my Mercury. Okay, my YouTube video. So first I'll show you the Torricelli's demonstration. So Torricelli's demonstration was this. He filled a bowl with mercury because he took mercury because he thought if it's happening with water, it will happen with mercury also. And mercury is a much denser liquid. It has a density 13.6 times water. So instead of a very tall water column, if he took a water column, we would have to take 10.3 meters, 34 feet. That will be too much. So instead, he took a tube of mercury, closed tube, and inverted it. So the mercury came down, mercury dropped down till it stuck at a particular height. It stuck at a particular height. So Torricelli said that this height of the mercury column, this weight of the mercury column is acting downwards, and it is being supported upwards by this atmospheric pressure, the pressure of air, which is acting here. It's like pushing the mercury upwards. So because of this, there is this mercury column, and actually the mercury column came and stopped at exactly 76 centimeters. So I have, and the same thing is shown here. You can see that mercury is filled inside a tube, a closed tube, and it's inverted. If you invert the mercury tube here, the mercury drops down and stops at 76 centimeters. It becomes stabilized at 76 centimeters. And there is a blank space here, which is actually a vacuum because there's no air. Air cannot enter through mercury. Mercury is too heavy. In any case, air has no passage. So there is vacuum created. So firstly, the first thing he demolished was that vacuum is not possible. Oppo, you are writing on the screen. So let me just disable that. Actually, that must be by accident. So you see, so first thing he showed is that vacuum is possible. A vacuum can be made. There are more ways, and a vacuum is made and can be made. Second thing is, he said that this weight of this column of mercury was being supported by the air pressure acting on the surface of water. And vacuum does not pull. Vacuum cannot pull. Vacuum is nothing. Vacuum means absence of everything. So where there's nothing present in this blank space, what can pull? So there is nothing pulling. There is no pull. The pull theory was actually demolished by Torricelli, and he showed that this was a push of air pressure from the top. So there, what we call as atmospheric pressure today was shown by him like this. And this is the history of a barometer, and I'm showing Mercury Barometer here, the YouTube video. Somebody is building it here, so I am showing it right now. It's very hard to buy mercury, it's so expensive. So look at this lady.
Way to the very top. And then I'm going to put my finger over the end and I'm going to invert it into the mercury. I'm going to set it here and use our clamp to hold it. Now, what's keeping this mercury column so high? It's that atmospheric pressure pushing down on the mercury, pushing this up.
So as you can see, this lady is also showing the same thing which we are discussing, which is that she took that long tube of mercury, and people take thin tubes because mercury is so costly. It's extremely, extremely expensive. So, and then she inverts it and the mercury drops down and settles at one height. It will settle at as much height as the air pressure acting downwards can hold. So it's like this height becomes a measure of atmospheric pressure. So if the atmospheric pressure is low, this height will be lower than 76 centimeter. And if its atmospheric pressure is higher, it is normally not, then it will be higher than 76 centimeter. And therefore we have a pressure measuring instrument, which we call as Torricelli's barometer. This is the barometer principle. And this is mentioned in all textbooks, like Torricelli barometer. But since we haven't seen it often with our eyes, it's hard to appreciate. So friends, at this point, do you have any questions? Any questions, any doubts, or anything that is not clear so far? Because you see, we were saying pull, push, and pull and push both, but there is no pull. Pull does not exist. Vacuum cannot pull. When we suck in air, we are sucking air, but water is rising up because of a push from somewhere. I'll show you all that. But first, right now, I mean, the Torricelli barometer, have you understood? And how Torricelli proved that it was a push from above. Is there any question, any doubt, anything which is not clear? If you want, I can repeat my argument. Friends, you have to say yes, no, something for me to know. No question? Yes, it is only push that is holding the water in a glass. Only push. And we will see how. This is the theory of atmospheric pressure. So friends, I showed you Mercury barometer. And see, one thing it doesn't matter whether you take a thin tube or a very thick tube, the mercury will rise, mercury or water. Whatever liquid you fill will rise exactly to the same height. The thickness of the tube does not matter because we are talking about pressure, which is force per unit area. So here also the air pressure is acting on all this area. And when this pressure acts at the mouth of the tube, it's force per unit area. So that so on every unit of area, it's the same 1 bar pressure. So the total force upwards will be multiplied by pressure into area. So if there is more area, the force will become more. If there is less area, the force will become less. The same thing applies to weight. If it's a thinner tube, it will mean thinner volume, so it will have lesser weight. If it is a thicker tube, more volume, so more weight. So weight is also dependent on this area of cross section. The upward force is also dependent on this area of cross section. So the area gets cancelled out. It's downward. So here the downward weight per unit area and the upward pressure, which is force per unit area, both balance out. I mean, what I'm saying, is this clear? Or this diagram clear? The pressure is also per unit area and the weight also gets divided into force per unit area. So greater thickness of the tube means, so this big tube also, the thick tube also, you can think of being made up of multiple thin tubes per unit area tubes. So on each of them, weight would be the same. Downward weight would be the same. Similarly for pressure here. Yeah, any question? So friends, I will now come to, firstly, I'll explain the consequences of air pressure and atmospheric pressure, and then we will come to all the experiments that we had done. See, atmospheric pressure on our bodies, on everything in our world is huge, massive, as this diagram shows. On your palm, it's like as if something with 150 kg mass is kept, like we get those 50 kg rice bags, no, 50 kg rice bags, 50 kg potato bags. So it's on your palm, it's as if 3 such bags are kept, or 2 people of 75 kg mass are standing on your hand. So much atmospheric pressure. It's roughly equal to the atmospheric pressure which acts on us is roughly equal to 1 kg. I mean, the force that 1 kg will apply. 1 kg on 1 square centimeter. 1 kg on 1 square centimeter is like my thumb. My nail of my thumb is 1 square centimeter roughly. It will have about 1 kg weight, I mean 1 kg mass here, and the weight acting on this 1 Newton. So much will be acting on only my nail. And if I spread out my palm, this I take as like 15 centimeter, this is 10 centimeters, so this will be 150 centimeter square. Therefore, I'm saying like as if 150 kg is kept here. 2 people are standing here. So much weight, so much force because of the air. Why aren't you feeling it? Why aren't we feeling it? Why don't we realize so much pressure, so much heavy, huge pressure? Why don't we feel it? It's a very important question. Why do you think we don't feel the atmospheric pressure? This massive atmospheric pressure. 1 bar is huge. You saw it, it crushed that steel drum. That steel drum was strong, big, very strong, completely crushed, demolished. Nothing can stand in its way. I mean, okay, things can stand in its way. They'll have to be very, 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 very strong. So why don't you think we get crushed? Why don't we get crushed? Why don't we feel this? Any answers? Okay, Manoj is saying our body also creates pressure upwards. See, our body cannot create pressure only upwards. It will have to create pressure on all sides. Okay, so Udita has said our body also exerts pressure, which is our blood. Neelu is saying there's no vacuum, our body has blood. But friends, please notice that our blood pressure is, if you take a standard blood pressure, normal blood pressure, high blood pressure is 130 mm of mercury. If you convert it into centimeters, 13 centimeters of mercury. 130 mm is the upper blood pressure, and normal lower one is somewhere around 70 to 80. So which is 13 centimeter, 7 or 8 centimeter. 13 centimeter. And air pressure is, atmospheric pressure is 76 centimeters. More than 5 times. 6 times. So inside pressure and outside atmospheric pressure equalize each other, that is correct, but it's not because of only blood. Blood can't do it. Blood is, like I said, only 13, 14 centimeters. And outside pressure is like 76 centimeters, 5-6 times. So how does our body withstand so much pressure? So, any answer? See, oh, weight of our body. Uma, weight is not same as pressure. Weight acts downwards. Pressure is a force which like it will be acting on in your body everywhere on the surface, equally in all directions, like that. So it's like just that our body is not only blood. Our body is blood, bone, muscles. It's meat. There's not much air inside our body. There's air inside our lungs, but not rest of our body. There's not much air inside our body. There is basically a lot of tissue, so a lot of fluid inside. That fluid will have to have enough pressure to equalize the outer pressure. Yes, it has a lot of fluid other than the blood. I mean, fluid inside cells, outside cells, water and dissolved substances. So all the substances, and also flesh, our flesh, that's semi-solid or almost mostly solid. Bones are solid. So in totality, our body is able to resist as much pressure. It will be applying as much pressure from inside to resist this outside pressure. Otherwise, we would get crushed. So such an important thing. Otherwise, we would have become crushed by, like so much air pressure. And remember, air exerts pressure equally in all directions. Fluid exert pressure at one point. Pressure is equal in all directions. So it's not only that air will be pressing my hand only from top. It will be pressing my hand only also from the bottom. Here, everywhere, in all directions. It's pressing equally. So if our bodies did not have an equal resistance pressure, we would have become like paper, thin paper. So when we are lying down, a huge amount of pressure is acting, but our body is resisting. And if every place on earth is experiencing this heavy atmospheric pressure, which is of course directed towards is perpendicular to the surface, right? And air is quite heavy. So knowing this, now we can see all our observations. So the straw experiment, we pull air and a low pressure is created inside the straw because there's less air inside, and there is heavy atmospheric pressure from above, which is also adding up to this here. The water is also adding up to it. So water and air together are giving this huge pressure. So water rushes up above. It's pushed from below. Water is pushed from below to rise up, right? Similarly, in the syringe, the moment you pull up the piston, there is low pressure created here inside the syringe, and the air pressure pushes inside. Atmospheric pressure pushes water inside and water rises up. Similarly, the bottle or the jar or the steel tank, inside partial vacuum was created or low air pressure was created by heating and allowing the air to escape, air or steam to escape. Low pressure was created inside, so heavy external pressure crushed it completely. Same thing in the newspaper experiment. So newspaper experiencing so much pressure from above, and because the newspaper has a large surface area, people do this experiment even with saris or like cloth, and they say it works equally well. I haven't tried it with cloth, but because of that huge surface area, this whole pressure is, so much pressure is per unit area, and then it gets the total force downwards is this pressure into the total area. So force downwards becomes huge. That force will press the ruler, the scale, enough for the scale not to fall. The scale cannot fall till some air enters below the newspaper. If the air enters below the newspaper, the air itself will apply its own pressure. So there will be pressure from below and above both. But as long as there is no air below, the pressure is only from above. Now, friends, so far we have talked about atmospheric pressure acting in each of the situations which we talked about. I am now coming to pressure inside water, if you have understood this much. So if there is any question, any doubt, or anything where you are still confused, please ask, because I will show, we have like 2-3 more experiments to show how pressure builds up with depth inside. Shall I move? Okay, so one thing I wanted to also say is that the fluid pressure is very strange. See, we saw, just a second. We saw that air presses from above, so there is this huge atmospheric pressure because of the weight of air, right? This huge column of air, the sea of air. So anywhere here, anywhere here, there is this huge pressure. But at a single point, if you see, at a single point anywhere, the value of the pressure is because of this huge column of air, but this pressure will be acting equally in all directions. That's because of, this is this weird thing about fluid pressure, that at any single point, the same value of pressure, which we are calling as 1 bar, will be acting equally in all directions. This because of the nature of fluids themselves. Fluids are made of like made up of these chaotically moving particles, and because of that, the value of the pressure is coming because of this huge column above. But here it will be acting in all directions, equally in all directions, which we saw in the beginning of the session itself. We saw that in this balloon, I mean, we can take this balloon as a single point. It's not a single point, but pressure is equal in all directions. The value of the pressure is because of whatever it's coming, but it's distributed equally in all directions. This is a very strange thing about fluid pressure. But think of it. Look at this bottle. See, this bottle has this huge column of air on top of it. Because of this, the pressure here is 1 bar, 1 atmospheric pressure, which I said is as much as roughly 1 kg applying a force on 1 centimeter square. Huge amount of pressure here because of this air. Even if I close this air inside still has that pressure. It's still acting equally in all directions. So this air, the pressure does not go down because air retains that pressure, right? It is at that pressure. And now this water surface has this air pressure acting on top. And now as you go down, this water column starts also adding its own weight. So at any point below the liquid surface, the pressure keeps increasing. As you go down below, pressure keeps increasing with depth, which we can see experimentally. We have 2-3 very beautiful experiments showing that. And here it's only a bottle, but we all know that as you go down into the sea, in oceans, the ocean surface, the pressure is huge. It's massive. Fish living there have to deal with it. Divers who dive down below have to deal with it. Otherwise, they will get squeezed flat. They will die with that pressure, because it's not only the air pressure on top, but so much pressure, water pressure also acting down because of the weight of that water acting downwards. So we'll have now 2 experiments. Manisha, can you show, or we should show that bottle? Okay, Parul will show. Manisha is probably not here just now. We have, I mean, this is given in all textbooks. This experiment, which I'll show here, that if you make a bottle, fill it with water, and you make holes on top of each other, you will see that the top hole drops water to a lesser extent, but the lower hole throws it much further, showing that the pressure is increasing with depth. Whereas if you make holes at the same depth, then the pressure remains the same. So we are showing it in 2 ways. I will show spotlight tab. So here Parul has on the table, she will put this, she will show this, these 2 bottles filled with colored water so that you can see clearly. And one bottle has vertical holes, one below the other, and one bottle has horizontal holes, all at the same time. And we should be able to see water streams coming out of it. Parul, you will have to keep, you will have to. Okay, friends. So you'll have to show it from side, Parul. Sideways, if you show it, we'll be able to see that the top उसके पीछे कुछ रखना पड़ेगा ना, पीछे रखना पड़ेगा, डार्क सरफेस रख के. हाँ, so we can see, हाँ, right. और कैमरा भी एक सामने इधर लाना पड़ेगा. अच्छा, कैमरा इधर है. Okay, great. Yeah, at least 2 streams are very clearly visible. So we can see the upper stream is going less far and the lower stream is going much further. And Parul, now you can show the horizontal bottle. तो दूसरी वाली bottle दिखा दो. So Parul will now show the bottle with horizontal holes. So 3 holes horizontally. Oh, Manisha is also ready. So Manisha, if you have a good background color, then maybe we can show. So we can show both. So Parul is showing first. Same height? तीनों same height वाले हैं? अच्छा, different heights, very clearly visible. Yes, different heights, very clearly visible. And I will show Manisha's also. So Manisha has Manisha, the streams are not visible because a very dark color of your background. Achha, Manisha has now at equal height. So somewhat visible at equal height. Yeah, now it's visible. Manisha has taken green colored water and Parul has orange colored water. So friends, we can see if the height is the same, water goes to equal distances, and height is different, the water goes to 3 different distances. Okay, thank you Manisha and Parul. I want to show the manometer. So I'm removing the spotlight. So manometer is an instrument, friends. I will first show it on screen and then we will show using the actual manometer. Manometer is an instrument, it's a U-tube in which colored water is filled. So initially the two tubes have same pressure, same air pressure, so the height is the same. But if one of the tube is subjected to greater pressure, you can see that that side will have the arm, that arm will have, the tube will go down. And if the pressure becomes lesser, the arm will go up. So what we will, so here also the same thing has been shown on the screen while Parul is setting it up. Parul, when you are ready, tell me. So, I mean, this I got from the net. So it's again showing a U-tube with colored water. So it's showing that in a liquid surface, if you take the top of, if like this U-tube, the manometer U-tube, if you attach to a pipe, take it on top of the liquid, both of your arms of the U will be same. But if you take it to a greater height, one arm will be showing a difference. And if you take it deeper, you will see a greater difference in the arms, showing pressure increasing in this tube. The air pressure inside this tube will increase. So exactly the same thing we are showing with the manometer which we have. So I am spotlighting tab right now, and spotlighting tab, and we have made a manometer with just a transparent rubber tube which you get in hardware stores. So transparent rubber tube, and in this transparent rubber tube we have Parul, इसका ऊपर वाला किनारे हटा दो तो दिख जाए कि U-tube है. This is a U-tube we have just stuck with the help of a tape, and now she will have to, इसमें पानी नहीं भरा. Parul will have to put colored water using a syringe. She will put colored water inside the U-tube, and initially both the tubes will be, because both are open to air pressure, both will show equal height. So she's just putting water, colored water inside the U-tube. Parul थोड़ा नीचे कर देते तो अच्छे से दिख जाता. हाँ, तो थोड़ा सा और डाल दो. पानी का ना कलर ज्यादा नहीं है. चलो, तो अभी दोनों में we can see that the water height is equal in both sides. Now she will dip one side. पानी थोड़ा कम करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज ना दूसरी साइड पे जगह ही नहीं है, वो बाहर आ जाएगा. चलो कोई बात नहीं. So now she will start dipping the tube into the water. I will have to come there. You can see as she dips it inside, वो हमें दिख नहीं रहा है, वो जो उधर डिप हो रहा है ना, मतलब हमें ये तो इसको साइड पे रखना पड़ेगा. वेट. So as she dips this, so I'm keeping it here so that you can see right now both the sides of the U are at the same level because the pressure is same as air pressure. Now I will start dipping it below. So as I dip below water surface, you can see that the side which is experiencing high pressure is going down constantly. And as I bring it up, you can see the pressure changing. So this is manometer actually measures liquid pressure. So you can see that the pressure is becoming equal now. And here, see, look, I'm dipping as I go down below. The pressure keeps increasing on one end. And if I move it at the same level, I'll try moving at the same level inside water, you will see that it will not change. You can do this. I mean, you can hold it at one place and move at the same level, at the same depth, whether you keep it upwards. Oh, this is. So, इसका वीडियो बंद कर दिया वीडियो वीडियो टैब So friends, basically a manometer works by taking a U-tube. So initially, like I was showing, both the sides of U have equal, actual equal level, same pressure, but as you keep dipping one side down, the pressure increases and the U side goes down, right? This is a beautiful experiment to show that pressure increases with depth, but at one particular depth, it will be equal in all directions. Whether you keep that tube above, below, you keep the mouth of the tube like that, like that, like that, any direction you move it around, at the same depth, pressure is same. So the thing that we were saying that fluid pressure increases with depth in air as well as in water. Even in air, if you go very high up in the atmosphere, you go to the mountains, the pressure is low. As you come close to sea level, the pressure rises. But in water, water is heavier. So as you go below, pressure keeps increasing very fast. So that's also true. But at one level, the pressure at one place here, pressure will be upward, sideways, 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 all directions pressure works equal, which we were seeing initially in a balloon as well. So now I think I don't have anything else to show. Okay, there's this potato. There is water, sorry, cloud in a bottle. Cloud in a bottle we will make, we'll show because it's a beautiful thing to see. It's like more for fun. A real cloud, real cloud. Hamare paas bottle hai. So I will show cloud, but if there is no question, is there any question on fluid pressure and fluid pressure increasing with depth? Manisha, can you show cloud in a bottle? We have a very small bottle here. चलो मैं छोटे वाले से ही try करती हूँ. इससे हो जाएगा. छेद तो नहीं इसमें. So Parul is trying to go and get a bottle. If Manisha has, then she can show. Otherwise, I will show. Meanwhile, you can ask any question. Manisha, you have?
Yes, ma'am.
Acha, okay. So I am spotlighting Manisha. So for cloud in a bottle, we take a blank bottle. I mean, a bad quality bottle will be better actually. You take a bottle, plastic bottle, and we have to introduce a little bit of smoke inside. So for smoke, either you can use a matchstick or an agarbatti. So either with a match or an agarbatti. So I also got a bottle, but I'll let Manisha do. Manisha, wo agarbatti hai?
Yes, ma'am.
So what we need to do is, अच्छा, okay, Manisha, मैं भी दिखा रही हूँ, ठीक है? Because your bottle seems to be very thick. So the first thing before putting some, Manisha मैं दिखा रही हूँ, मेरे पास अगरबत्ती भी मिल गई, ठीक है? Bottle भी हो गई. Manisha, I am showing it, right? So the first thing to do is, in your bottle, introduce some little water. The air inside your bottle should be moist. So put some water and I'm shaking it. Though air is quite moist these days in any case, because it's rainy season here. So air is quite moist. So now I have moist air inside. Now a little bit of smoke is required, because clouds do not form without some amount of dust particles or smoke particles. Some particles are needed. So I'm introducing a little bit of smoke inside. And after that, now I have removed the agarbatti. And now what you have to do is, now squeeze this bottle. Press, release, press, release, press, release. You have to repeatedly press and release, press, release, press, release, press, release. And you can see clouds forming inside. And what will come out now is actual clouds. It is like, this is not, I'm not trying to fool you. These are what are coming out are, these are actual clouds, real clouds. I had put in very little smoke, but what is coming out, as you see as white thing, is actual clouds. Manisha, if you have a thin bottle or a transparent bottle, it will be good. Otherwise, I will give the explanation. Manisha is showing. Okay, she's putting some. बहुत सारा धुआं है, मनीषा, इतना ज्यादा जरूरत नहीं है. Otherwise, people will make a. I mean, since you were using a धूप बत्ती, that's why I said no. This is too much smoke. Let it be. Let it be. So friends, how did was this fun? Firstly, this making clouds is real fun. I always enjoy. Second, let's come to the explanation. See, explanation is you have little smoke inside, little dust particles or some particles inside. When you press, the air gets compressed. Air has water vapor. When you press, it gets compressed. But when you release, the same thing expands. Expansion leads to condensation, cooling and condensation. See, when we press, then some temperature will go up. But when we release, it cools, and cooling leads to condensation. So condensation starts. Every time you release, it starts condensing. Press, release, more condensation. Press, release, more condensation. And water vapor inside condenses on smoke particles. Those smoke particles are essential for cloud formation. Smoke particles or dust particles, and clouds form inside. Wherever there is water vapor and it cools, water vapor condenses on these nuclei. These are called nuclei of cloud formation, which condenses on particles and clouds form. So we were forming actual clouds. So with that, we are ending today's session. If there is any question, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll end for today. Question or any comment? Manisha, if possible, please give the feedback form. And the session is stored on our Facebook page. So any of you who want to visit, or your friends, they can see on the Facebook page. Plus, there is a WhatsApp group where we keep announcing our open sessions, which are open to all. Anybody can come whenever they want. So those are our broadcast groups. So I would request those people who want to attend more sessions. Rakesh, thank you. Sitin, Nedu, thank you. So you're welcome. So we would request you to give us feedback on the class, anything you want to say, any comments, any questions. And Manisha has given the feedback form, and we will put our Facebook page as well as our broadcast group, so that any of you who want to join our open sessions. These days we are holding lesser number of open sessions because the school system has suddenly become very busy in many places with schools opening up. Welcome friends, it's a pleasure to connect to you people, and let's hope our sessions help you enrich your classrooms, have a better interaction with children. And I hope, like, even air pressure, which is actually air pressure or fluid pressure, is a very dense topic. It's a very, see, air, nothing is visible. I mean, we say air applies pressure. When do we feel it? We don't even see it. So, and anything about air is mysterious. Think of it, humanity struggled so much till Torricelli came. Humanity couldn't make sense of it. So it's not surprising that we also find it hard. So welcome everyone. So see you next time in our physics, and of course next week would be biology, but biology, chemistry and physics go in rotation. So every Saturday. Welcome everyone. Welcome friends. I'm waiting for Manisha to place those. Manisha, are you pasting?
Ma'am, already done.
Okay. She has put a WhatsApp group, which is our broadcast group, and she has posted the feedback form. Facebook page nahi dalana bhi. Facebook page bhi dekh lo.
No, ma'am. One minute just.
So we like sessions are recorded on the Facebook page, so you can always refer back. And we do try to send the PPT to Inbraj sir so that he can circulate to you people. And we are trying to even build text documents for all these sessions with all the questions and answers and descriptions, so that the teachers can use this as resource material. You are like, you can always use whatever you like whatever questions or experiments or anything you want to use in your classroom. So we will try, we are building resource material so that we can send it to you for use. And we hope that Sikkim is the first state we are working with. So I hope that Sikkim actually utilizes all this, Sikkim teachers utilize, and you take it to your classrooms and enrich your classrooms so that we can proudly say someday that, okay, Sikkim started the process, right? So, okay, friends, Manisha has put the Facebook page also where the session is stored. So thank you and see you in our future classes. Yeah, the Facebook page is Joy of Learning Foundation. It says response already recorded. Actually, you'll have to go to the Manisha general Facebook page link. Actually, general link. Should I take that out?
No, ma'am, she's talking about feedback form, but I think she have to just mention the topic again. That's it.
Acha, you have to mention the topic again. In the feedback form, yes, you fresh topic requires a fresh entry.